Morning, Kendallach. Here to God willing record today's Chumash with Rashi Behar, the third portion. Always learning to bind our souls to God, to pledge God hasten the redemption. Further, the Rebbe's Malchus, for those that believe in that. What do you call a camel with 3 humps? It's pregnant. We've been learning about the Shemitah year, and yesterday we learned about. How to be honest in business, to be honest with our words. Today we're going to talk a little more about the land. It'd be interesting to know why we took that quick subsection of business and words, maybe to let things sit by us for a second, to get each little bit down and get their bite-sized piece. Now we're going to talk about the land a little bit again. Okay, verse Yud Tes in chapter Chachei, chapter 25, verse 19. Benasna haaretz, the land will give priya, its fruit. Ve'achaltem, and you all will eat. L'savoa, to satiation. V'shavtem levetach alecha, and you will dwell on it securely. Rashi says, Venasna haaretz, the land will give. V'shavtem levetach, the entire verse, alecha. Shelo tidagu mishnaz b'tzeres, that you shouldn't worry about a year of drought. Because yesterday, I think we were already, the last verse, we were already assured that we would live on the land securely, that our right to dwell, our person being on the land, just our being on the land, period. Here it's talking about security, about the weather, that the weather will be good and that we won't have years of drought and we'll be able to harvest each year. And you'll eat to satisfaction. Even when it's inside of you, it'll give a blessing, and implying that even if you eat a little, it'll still really satisfy you. Your stomach, it'll be blessed. So we learned yesterday that we could eat that we were going to dwell securely on the land. So why repeat it again today? To tell you that the weather will be good. You'll get harvests every year. You won't have a year of drought. What does it mean, eat to satisfaction? The food will be blessed in your stomach. Verse Chaf, and if you'll say, Manocha b'shana shvis, what are we going to eat in the 7th year, Hashem? You're telling us we can't work the field. At least not in a manner of ownership. Hein lo nizra, we can't seed, v'lo nesaf, and we can't gather in. As to Hussein, our produce. What are we supposed to eat in year 7? Rashi says, v'lo nesaf, bais, what does it mean? Don't gather in, don't bring it into your house. As to Hussein, because that's acting like the owner. What's your produce? Could go in yain, uperos, ilan, like wine, and then tree fruits of trees. And even just aftergrowth that grew from you not planting it. None of that. What is going on? How are they supposed to eat Hashem? What's happening? So you can see why this would be a hard mitzvah or a scary mitzvah for many years. And then we learned about yesterday about all the exile that came, that there were 70 years of exile between Temple 1 and Temple 2. We should just have the 3rd temple for the Yid not keeping the Shemitah year 70 times. It's hard. It's a very hard mitzvah. You have to really trust in Hashem. That's very strong faith. But it's coming. At verse Chaf Aleph, Vitzivisi, and so Hashem's going to tell you, I will command as birchas lachem, that there will be my blessing for you, B'shana Shishis, in the 6th year, Vasas to Vasa, and you'll make that your produce l'shlosh shanim for 3 years. Make sure I said that right. I will then order my blessing for you in the 6th year, and the land will yield produce for 3 years. So the taich in the chayenu is, I will then order my blessing for you in the 6th year, and will yield produce for the 3 years. And then they added in a couple words in the bracket to make it easy to read. I will then order my blessing for you in the 6th year, and the land will yield produce for you for 3 years' use. Rashi says, L'shlosh shanim. What is this 3 years business? A second ago, Hashem, he was just worried about the 7th year. What's 3 years? What's going on now? He has to worry about another year, or it's going to be so good, it's going to last. He won't have to harvest, or he won't have to plant even into the 8th. What is this 3 years all about? Shlosh shanim. So Rashi tells you, L'ksas hashish is part of the 6th year, because as the 6th year is coming to a close, all the crops are in the field or drying in the barns. Nissan Vad Rosh Hashanah. From Nissan to Rosh Hashanah, everything's in the fields. There's no, you're not gathering in. You're not eating that stuff. You're eating what you harvested before. And for the 7th year is the Shemitah year, and then when it comes to the 8th year, Shizar b'Shmitas Mar Cheshvan. The earliest that you could plant would be Mar Cheshvan. You got through Tishrei. Now it's time to plant again. Yikspur Nisan, but these crops won't be harvested till Nisan. So whatever you harvested in Nisan in the 6th year has to last you till Nisan in the 8th year. So you have part of the 6th, all of the 7th, and part of the 8th. That's your 3 years. Pasuk Chaf Beis. V'zartem es shana hashminis, and you'll sow in the 8th year. V'chaltem min tevu, and you'll eat from the produce, yashin, the older produce. Ad shana tishis, until the 9th year. Ad bo tevu asatochel yashin, and until your produce comes in, even in the 9th year, you're able to eat the old produce. And I added some words. Let's just translate the verse literally, please. V'zartem es shana hashminis, you'll sow in the 8th year. V'chaltem es min tevu yashin, and you'll eat from the old produce. At Shana Tishis, until the 9th year, until your produce comes in, you'll eat the old stuff. So Rashi says, well, what's this 9th year business? A minute ago, Rashi explained to me that he had to get into the 8th year. How all of a sudden we're talking about 9th years? What's happening here? At Shana Tishis, Rashi says, Ad Haga Sukkos, we're talking until Sukkos, Shel Tishis of the 9th year. So before, at least, he was harvesting in Nisan of the 8th year from the Mar Cheshvan crop. How are we now 6 more months out? Shehu Eis Botuasa, because at Sukkot is the time where you really bring in all the crops. You know, the summertime everything was growing, then you chopped it down and dried it, and now Sukkot times everything's coming in. This is the time to really enjoy it. It's Man Simchaseinu, so we're so happy. But the real happiness is being close to God and gathering in His produce, His knowledge, His wisdom, His love, His closeness, and all His good gooyish stuff. This is when you really bring the 8th year stuff in. And if you're going to say to me, well, wait a minute, didn't we just learn we planted in Mar Cheshvan on the 8th year and there was some harvest in Nisan? Seems to be the primary harvest is the Nisan crop that you bring in at Sukkot time. But it'd be interesting to look in. That would be a nice thing to research. You know, it makes sense that things don't grow as much in the winter time. Maybe it's a smaller crop. Maybe it's only certain foods could grow at that time. In the summer, you can grow pretty much anything. Spring and summer. Maybe that's what it's about, but it'd be nice to look into that. Love to hear some comments. Alright, so the primary harvest time is, or gathering in time, is Sukkot of the 9th year. Alright, so what's going on over here? Shekol Yamos Akais Hayu Basada Begronus Utishehu Esa Isi Labayas, because during the 8th year it was growing in the fields and in the barns and drying out, and you didn't bring it until the 9th year. Well, that's very nice. So now I see the brachas even, I don't know if it's the right way to say it, but even more. Before we said, okay, the bracha will get them till Nisan of the 8th year. No, Hashem's telling you the bracha is going to get you all the way till Sukkot of the 9th year. That's how long the older produce is going to last. Even longer than what you would technically need. It's just that big of a bracha. Oh, but what if you say, what if it happens to be a year when there's a Jubilee? We should have that right away. Depends on a lot of Yidden being in Eretz Yisrael, maybe all of them. Just have the ultimate redemption right away. God should be revealed. All the good stuff. That just goes without saying. All right. So what if it happens to be a situation where there's Jubilee year? Now you need a whole nother year, or at least another 6 months if I'm doing the math right. You know, I have to get through. If you harvested the crop Nisan of the 48th year, that's got to last you through 49, 50, and into 51. Till Nisan again. So how's that supposed to work? Sometimes it could be 4 years. Alright, so Rashi says, very nice, it's true, there could be such a scenario, but Hashem here is talking about a normal scenario where there's just a Shemitah and no Yovel after. But he broke it down the way we said, you know, from you gathered in some produce, Nisan of the 48th year, and then you won't be able to harvest again until year 51. So Rashi just spec'd it out for you, and it would be, you know, you plant in Mar Cheshvan of 51, and then gather in Nisan of 51. But Rashi says our verse is talking about a regular setup, not a Yovel setup. All right. But Hashem will make it work. Obviously, Hashem's going to make it work. Hashem's got your back and He wants your best. He's just trying to bring you closer to Him and make you happy and showing you different things. Verse Chaf Gimel V'Haaretz Lo Simchar Litzmisus, and the land will not be. You shouldn't sell the land in perpetuity. That's a fancy English word. How you say it? Don't sell the land permanently. Ki li'ar. It's because it's my land. Hashem says it ain't your land. It's my land. Everything's Hashem. He's just giving it to you, letting you use it for the time being. So Don't think you can make a permanent sale. Everything is Hashem. He gives us everything. So don't get too comfortable, so to speak, on the land. Don't get too greedy about it. Don't have too much ownership. The land is God. Do not sell in perpetuity. That's the simple meaning of the verse. Kigerim toshavim atem yimati. Because you're just dwellers, that you're sojourning on the land with me. It happens to be you're chilling out with me, and the land is in the picture, but it ain't your land. It's my land. I'm letting you. Okay, it appears like your land. You sow it, you plant it, you harvest it, this, that, and the next. But at the end of the day, whose land it is? My land. You're just, at the end of the day, in this world, you're a sojourner. Everything is Hashem. There's nothing but Hashem. In the spiritual world, where you're just the soul, although the ultimate is we should have redemption right now, Chabad says bodies and souls, unlike Rambam, who says souls, no bodies, but the Ramban says souls and bodies. And the Rebbe says many times we could have eternal life in these bodies. We just have to receive the face of Mashiach, which means memorize Mishnayos and say it in the streets and learn on Yanigul and Mashiach, which we're mixing in a little now. Even in the spiritual world, you're just, so to speak, using some planting terms, an outgrowth of Hashem. There's no you, there's no identity to really speak of. Here you have the illusion of identity and some apparent what appears to be autonomy and authority over, at least over your person, and you would think over your land. Hashem's letting you know, your land is mine. Your person, which is really Hashem's true desired land, especially the innermost part of your heart. So what Hashem really wants is your heart, all your heart for Him, because He loves you and He wants you to love Him back. If you can only love Him as much as He loves you, oh, we'd be out of here already. It'd be phenomenal if a person could do that. But it's hard to love someone as much as Hashem loves them. That's some big time love. It's big time love. Anyway, so in the truth, you're just sojourning on the land, and everything around you is just in a manner of sojourn. Hashem gives, and it's really all His, though. It's really all Hashem's. We're just sojourning. But we should sojourn forever and ever in these bodies and with Hashem fully revealed. All right, so don't sell your land in perpetuity because it's really Hashem's and you're just chilling out with Him. Rashi says, the land you shouldn't sell. Litan laval. It puts the language of a negative command. It makes it a negative command that a person shouldn't be. If a person were, God forbid, not to return the land in the Jubilee year to its rightful owner, he would, God forbid, violate a negative commandment, or her, God forbid. So that the purchaser shouldn't keep the land. See how they say it here. Because, yeah, right, it's mentioned that you sort of already knew this. So here it's adding a negative command. And that, the purchaser shouldn't seize it forcibly to try to keep it as a permanent sale. It's one thing, obviously, you can't sell it permanently because, the Jubilee year things are back. This is an additional warning. Hey, he didn't buy it permanently. He's going to try to make it permanent now. He ain't giving it back. This puts a special warning against that person that shouldn't have these type of thoughts in their heart. It's Hashem's land. When it's time to give back, you give back. But Rambam says a little different, because the next verse, we're going to see in the next verse, is that you allow from redemption of the land, and the redemption of the land really is the purchaser. You don't have to tell the seller to allow redemption of the land. He's the one trying to redeem it, so obviously he's into the whole redemption program, but if the purchaser might need to be reminded. So it's interesting with Loikas, Rashi, and Rambam what the verse is actually addressing. Rambam says it's talking about the seller, and if he does it, it's a no-go. The sale doesn't count because he violated this principle of what Hashem says goes, translating loosely. And Rashi says, no, if you look at the context and the fact that we sort of already knew this idea already, that the owner can't do that. It's going on the purchaser that he shouldn't try to turn it into a permanent sale by suppressing the land and not giving it back. Rashi continues, it's misus, what's this word? L'fsicha, forever and ever, l'mechir b'suk olamis, don't make eternal sales. Kili Aretz, because the land's mine. Rashi continues, Al Terai Nechaba, don't have an evil eye about it. Shein Shalach, it's not your land. Don't get greedy. I think they've had the land a long time. They could feel a little bit entitled. I feel like they have some ownership rights. There's interesting laws I think about. I don't remember exactly how it works, but if someone works in a store, I think particularly if it's the wife working in the store, but I don't have it exact, a person can grow to feel entitled. This person's been on this land 30, 40 years. They could very feel like their land. They've raised their children there. Maybe their grandchildren are there. They remember their father there, although we should just have eternal life in these bodies now. And through Makabeling Panei Mashiach Sikeno, which means Memorish Mishnayos and say in the streets and learning the Ani Torah and Gula Mashiach. So a person could really feel like this is their land, and the heart can get very strong and feel like, hey, I shouldn't have to give it up. This is my place. This is my heart. This is how it's going to be. My rule is my house. So Hashem's saying, look, it ain't really yours. It's really mine. It's all mine. So, chill out a little bit. Let me have my way because I'm the boss and it's really all me in the first place. So just keep that in mind. Closing verse. V'chol eretz achuzaskem, and in all the land of your inheritance, gulatit nalarts, there should be a redemption for the land. You shall allow redemption for the land. Interesting. So it's slightly different the way it's translated in Chayinu. Rashi says, "V'chol aretz uchazasem." What does Rashi said? L'rabos batim ve'evid ivri. This word of v'chol, it's I don't want to say this comfortably. It's, so to speak, an extra word. I don't want to say the Torah has extra words, but you could have said the land of your inheritance. And all the land of your inheritance. If you say the land of your inheritance, I pretty much get that it's all the land. So what does this word of v'chol come? It's a very important word, a critical word. It's coming to teach me something. We're going to learn some very interesting laws from this one word. But from the fact that when a person reads it at first, it might strike out as extra, superfluous. Comes to teach me I should be learning something. There should be some laws here. What are we going to get? So you don't just make these things up. I mean, the rabbis have learned out for us. So what did the rabbis learn out from this particular word? To include houses and walled cities and Hebrew slaves. So houses and walled cities, we're going to learn out. In Israel, there were two styles of cities. I mean, technically, I guess you could say there's more, but generally, let's say there's walled cities and unwalled cities, and walled cities have certain laws, and houses in walled cities have certain laws, and their redemption has certain laws. So what the Gemara learns out, I think we're going to say in Kedushin in a minute. This isn't simple. Sifsei Chachamim on Kedushin. I think it goes on both these limudim, both these lessons that we learned, but it could be just on the latter one. But as I understand, it's on both. If anyone wants to check that up, that'd be great. Bli neder, bli anhar. Bli neder, God willing. When it comes to houses in walled cities, I think very soon we're going to learn, I'm not 100% certain, but I'm pretty sure, that these have certain laws of redemption. Somebody sold their house in the walled city, now they want to redeem it, and there's a number of laws. This word uvachoil, the rabbis come to learn how it means even the relatives of that person can come and redeem that house in the walled city under the right situation. And also that Hebrew slaves, be'epsum, can be redeemed. You might think, hey, he bought a slave, that's it, finished. No. This word v'chol teaches that a Hebrew slave can be redeemed. If he can, I don't know all the details perfectly, but I think if he can buy himself out of his contract, to use a modern parlance, so to speak. And maybe even someone else can help him get out. But if he can get the money back, I don't remember exactly how it works, he could also be redeemed. A Hebrew slave could be redeemed, and relatives can redeem houses in walled cities. That's what we're learning from this word. And this is explained clearly in Gemara Kedushin in the first chapter, on the 21st page, first side of the page, Daf Chaf Aleph Amid Aleph. But according to the simple meaning of the verse, it slides into the next upcoming verses. It fits into the upcoming verses. It's connected. All right, it's a loose translation of Samuch, in my opinion. But it's connected to the upcoming parsha, the upcoming next few verses we're going to discuss, that God willing we'll learn tomorrow. That somebody who sells his inheritance, he can redeem it after 2 years. Him or his relative. And the purchaser can't stop it. So tomorrow, it looks like we're going to learn about, God willing, somebody sells their ancestral inheritance, God forbid. That's what should only really happen if a person gets poor, God forbid. All Jews should be rich. Jews are God's gold, so all Jews are actually rich. But when a Jew is aware of that, he will become physically rich, according to Rebbe Melech Mashiach. So you can take that to the bank. No, that's true. But Jews are God's gold. Jews are God's gold, so Jews are all very rich, and when they get in touch with that, they'll be very rich, spiritually and physically. Mostly, I guess spiritual richness is where it's really at, but physical richness, people need too, so they can do Torah and mitzvahs and help each other and keep the world running by helping the poor person. The poor person, there's more for the rich person than rich for the poor person. Think about that. Gives him an opportunity to do a tremendous mitzvah, earn his livelihood. What's going on there? Anyway, so soon, I think, God willing, tomorrow we're going to learn about when it comes to that scenario, we're going to learn that either he or his relatives could redeem it if they get some money going, God willing. And so it fits very nicely our verse flows right into that, and I'm going to say it fits nice this idea that now it makes more sense that this word is very tightly connected to the idea of relatives being able to redeem something, and what context does it apply to? Houses and walled cities, which is a little bit of a leap, but not that big of a leap from ancestral heritage. So we see very closely how the rabbis were able to learn this out, and how the Hebrew slave gets in. You want to learn that in chapter Kedushin. And I wanted to add a little pin chassidus to make the Torah great and glorious. We could say, F Shalom, or possibly we could say, in all the land of your possession, you will allow redemption of the land. So your land, so to speak, could be your person, your emotional plane, your mental plane. You could imagine that you, so to speak, own you. You think you're you, right? You understand that you're your person, your body, you move it around, these type of things, unless you completely identify with the soul, then you imagine you're your soul, right? But really, it's all God. So the parts of you that seem like they're you, your inheritance, your land, it says many places that Jews are Hashem's desirable land. So your land, your person, the parts of you that seem to be you, you have to allow for redemption. You want to be redeemed, you have to allow it. How are you going to be redeemed? You have to let Hashem in. You have to let Hashem redeem you and take you out. So you have to make room for God and let Him take you out. Shekna.